The dreaded question. It's so vague. I guess I'll say that I'm a student. I'm a graduate student right now at Columbia University studying counseling psychology. I am a model with Trans Models NYC. And more than that, I'm a trans researcher and advocate. I feel like I have to go back. It was a very long process for me. I didn't have access to the language of transgender. I'd never even really heard that word. I came out as a lesbian first at the age of 14. I didn't really know if there was anything else that I could identify as at the time. I knew that I was masculine and that I was attracted to women, so the word lesbian just felt like it fit. And I was out as a lesbian for some period of time. Something still didn't feel right to me. So I went around and I asked all of the most masculine lesbians that I knew, well, on the inside, you feel like men, right? You just feel like a man on the inside. And they said, no, we feel like women who like women. And I was like, well, that's not me. I need to figure out, well, what is me? So there's this word kind of popped into my head. I had heard like maybe once or twice. I didn't know what it meant, but transgender. I was like, okay, I'm going to do some research. So I went on YouTube and I typed in the word transgender. And these videos started popping up, and 1 year on T, 1 year post-op, and it was literally hit me like immediately when I saw that word. I said, that's me. That's what I need. It's very interesting for me, I think, transitioning to male because I gained a lot of privilege when I transitioned. I gained male privilege and I gained white male privilege, which we know holds a lot of power in our society. But I also have all of this knowledge and experience from my time that I lived as female. And I'm trying to figure out how to integrate them. I feel like a lot of what we hold as masculinity is sexism. It's hyper-masculinity. It's violent. And those are never things that I wanted to be. My masculinity is separate from that. So I think a large concern for us is how do we come into society as men and assert that we are men and be valued as men while not participating in sexism and not putting women down and in fact standing up for women. So I don't know how many people have seen the L Word that are watching this, but the reason I chose the name Shane was because I was exactly like the character Shane from the L Word, and there were a lot of people in my life. I'll say it nicely, there are a lot of people in my life. So I guess it's very different depending on who we're talking about. So there were some men initially, like straight guys, when I first started my transition, before I was on testosterone, that were hitting on me, and I was like, you're straight, and I'm a guy. And they're like, well, it's not gay because, and I'm like, no, I don't know. Like, if I'm a guy and you're a guy, that would mean you have some attraction to men. So there was some of that. But then in the gay community, I think it's really hard for trans men that are attracted to men. I don't want to overgeneralize, but I think within the gay community, there's a lot of focus on genitals, and I feel like we've all heard.
That's in general.
Yeah. But there was this one time, I'll give you an example. This one time I was at a club, it was a gay club, and this guy was hitting on me, we're talking, we're flirting, and I was like, well, just so you know, I need you to know that, I'm trans, and explain what that meant. And I was many years on hormones at this point, and he said, oh, well, I still think you're really beautiful, but I can never be with a woman. And that just really hurt, that's in the LGBT community. And I was looking the way I was, and still, when I disclosed that I was trans, he then viewed me as a woman and was no longer interested in me. So I feel like that happens a lot to trans men. With women, it was different because I feel like there's kind of more acceptance among women, but I remember one girl I dated really close to before I started dating Jess. She was a straight girl, which was fine because obviously I identify as male. And she said that she was okay with it. She kept saying, oh, I don't mind that you're trans. I don't care that you're trans. But then I could tell she wasn't okay with it. And it come out, she was uncomfortable if I would talk about being trans. And she never wanted to touch me or anything like that, because that made her uncomfortable. And if you're with someone and you're dating them, you don't pick and choose the parts that you're okay or you're comfortable with. That means you love the person and you love all of them. But I really didn't get that kind of unconditional acceptance and love until I started dating Jess.
Think they are LGBT allies, but they're not really. So tell us about the fake allies.
Fake allies, and now that trans is gaining more attention in the media and we're seeing shows and we're seeing films, people want to get on board. People are like, this is something that I want to support because they know that
it'll make them money.
Either it will make them money or the tide is shifting and they feel like they should be accepting, but they aren't actually. And I feel like you can really tell, like, people's true colors will start to show when they're not actually accepting. And some of the most transphobic things that have ever been said to me have been said by gay men. And that just breaks my heart because we're the LGBT community, you know, and we're all marginalized and we need to be sticking up for each other, not pushing each other away because maybe your experience is a little different than mine is. Dating experience? There wasn't a lot of dating.
Oh. All right. Well,
I think that we can't even begin to understand things that we have never seen. The first trans man that I ever saw in the media was Thomas Beatty, who you may know as the pregnant man. He got a lot of media attention some years ago for that. And even though I wasn't out as trans at the time, I didn't identify with him because from my personal experience and journey, I could never envision myself being pregnant. But of course, however, I think it's beautiful that there are trans men that feel comfortable with that. But just for me, I didn't resonate with that. And even now we see shows like Transparent and things like that. Tons of trans women, and I'm so happy for that visibility for trans women. But there was one trans man, even Ian Harvey, but he was only in a couple episodes, and we haven't seen any more trans men. And how are people supposed to understand an experience or a person that they've never seen or never been exposed to? So, bonus hole boys is actually what a lot of the trans men porn is. And some people find that empowering, like, oh, I have something that other guys don't have. For me, that language feels icky and like I wouldn't. And I feel like it's just so objectifying, you know, bonus hole boys. But that's a very small section of like porn. And I feel like that's vastly different from what we see, you know, with trans women and porn, and most people being exposed to trans women through porn. I mean, that's just not... At an individual level, I think people just talking about trans men, that they know or that trans men exist, or spreading media that does have trans men in it, people are completely like astonished when I say that I'm trans, and then they'll actually be like, oh, so you want to become a woman? Like, they don't even know that transitioning to male is an option at this point. So spreading knowledge, like educating yourself about those kinds of things. But I honestly think that what we need is to see people like Laverne and people like Janet Mock and people doing important work. We need to see trans men, because trans men are doing that work. They are actors and they are singers or people that are in media work, but there's just no space for us. There's no opportunity for us. I want to say there is a whole market of humans that have immense talents and immense perspective that you're not even tapping into. I had an experience. I was in Laverne Cox Presents the T Word, which is an Emmy-winning documentary that was on MTV and Logo. And that was that was one of the best experiences of my life. And after that, I was in a music video and I've started to get into media work, but I haven't been able to progress because no one's writing trans guy characters on TV or film or anything like that. Give us the space and I promise you will be thrilled and amazed by what you will find that we have to offer. Thank you.